read between the lines. Hey, these people got it going. I thought they're going to win. That was my intuitive, sense of it.
I would put out a program at the public library, something cheap, if you want to come. The value sometimes is people just knowing they're invited to something, and most of them don't come. They want to stay home.
We didn't do anything, right, Tim? We just didn't do anything.
No, practically nothing.
Let's talk about that. I like this topic. Jamie's giving me some harassment about this. It was not, some like social media posts. I may have been responsible for it, someone else. But there was a point in time where an article was written they're going to lose. No one's doing anything. There's no efforts that are really being made, and it's on the ballot. But what's happening, and so what was really going on? Let's talk about it. There was no real unified coalition anymore, right? Every man for himself. As you're saying, it's on the ballot. That was the goal. Kind of the whatever the and every man and person, woman, child, busted their ass individually. That's really what ended up happening. There wasn't a abundance of funds that were coming to people. It was a.
I think the feeling was
an amazing factor. I think,
if the glue could be held together well enough for people, ours to lose type thing. We still need to kind of work toward it, but things are looking good. So just don't screw it up, kind of a thing. And we all continued to do our thing, and we all stayed within those parameters. Right. We saw it through to victory.
This is from the experts over here.
Yeah.
Listen,
it took a village.
Right, but the team here, the plan and strategy has always been get it on the ballot. Yeah. And if it's whatever the percent, so it didn't matter. It really didn't matter if there's a coalition. It didn't matter that $1 million. It didn't matter if Scott Greenlee and Santa came. It wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? Right?
That's very good.
Get the two groups to
combine resources and to have one petition.
Most of us don't like that current law that's in there now, but now if this was a fucking lame duck right now, we realize why the law had to be written the kind of semi-shitty way that it was written, because we probably will be able to squeak through a lame duck here now. And now everything comes clear. I was really so pissed off about many sections of the law that just passed, but now I understand.
Well, it's that's always a difficult thing to get everyone to agree.
It's still quite awesome comparatively.
Yes, to other states.
It's better than the way it was yesterday.
And we'll move forward from it. You're right, Chuck. This is a start.
This is an important point.
There, yeah.
The issue that this battle here is about making the perfect legalization versus incrementalization, right? There's always been that debate amongst activists. Yeah. Do you take what you can get now? At least you got the foot in the door, or the camel's nose under the tent, Jeff Frazier would say. It starts the whole, it starts going. So, and there's been debates, and I remember there was a big thing in 2016, I think, what's his name, from the normal lawyer, what's his name, from the old, Keith Straub, came in, and that's always been his thing, right? Yeah. And he's always been a big advocate of that. And that's a divisive topic amongst this community in particular. We know that people still don't think it's enough, right? But
what?
It's not enough. Is Alan here now?
Alan's here.
Alan just walks in and starts asking questions like he's.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Alan Pizer, also known as the Rasta Rabbi. He's here. He's in the house.
Hey, good evening. Nice to be here, everybody. Thank you for listening.
All right.
Alan, is there going to be more cannabis users as of today than there were yesterday? That's the question I want to know.
A bunch of people start smoking now that cannabis just became legal.
No, I don't think it's going to change much in numbers, but I think people will be a lot more open about it, and the actual numbers that people will see will probably be increased as far as when they do, statistical tolls or polls. I think those numbers will go up.
All right, for all the lawyers in the room, get ready to raise your hand or thumb up, thumb down. For purposes of medical or legalization, we are encouraging card holders to keep their card. Are we right about that? Is there no debate about that? Because of the fact that there's clearly the driving issue, right? And
that is an issue.
Not paying tax.
Not paying tax. That's true, right? The legalization removes
all the coon issues, all the clarified law that's already out there. You have better protections that are on the books now.
Better possession limit if you cohabitate between patients. You can have 2 12-plant gardens.
Better plant numbers. Yep. I mean, other than the closed lock facility, you know.
Well, not only that, I mean, think about anybody under 21 still needs a medical card to be able to use.
Yeah.
You also have some employment advantages too. There's just a ton of reasons to keep it. Roadside advantages also.
Huge.
Yeah, I'm glad you make that clear to people.
Although we
The
should,
greatest system yet, sliced bread.
Look, I think there's a greater
Caregiver system.
symbolicness to the whole passing of this law too. I think we get to use that to our favor. I think that in the
Yes.
future, we get to, we just like we've said for the past 10 years. Look, the people have spoken. 63% majority passed the medical marijuana law in 2008. Respect the law. Well, now we get to say, hey, we get to beat the drum. Hey, look, we passed, legalization in 2018. Respect the people's law.
it doesn't matter.
But I have to please let me interject. This is very profound what you just said, and that we hold the moral high ground. Period.
Yes.
There's nothing for us to explain.
Right.
And beforehand, there's always this insinuation we're some kind of criminal. Well, it's against the law, isn't it?
Right.
And that was as if the law was the ultimate arbitrator.
Right.
And no, that ain't there anymore.
Right.
There's not there for them anymore. Period.
How about this? There's a mandate. The people spoke. They said there's a mandate here. We voted for Prop 1. We voted for Attorney General Nessel, who from day one said, I am in favor of this, and Gretchen Whitmore. There's a mandate for our government to implement this now, and we have the leadership. See, Eric, I was just going to say, whether or not we know what the people have spoken. More people voted for medical. And in 2012, they had $24 million in forfeiture. That's not implementation. That's obstruction. We are optimistic that, and maybe it was the carnage from that, as terrible as that is, the carnage that all the, the whole patient community to go through all this, now they look, maybe they back off or it's become such a, less than civil they don't care anymore and chase it down. But we've learned that the adage of if you don't like the law, go and change it, it doesn't really work that way. It's who's in charge of enforcing it. You know what I mean? Right. So the implementation factor, we've always said it's about leadership. The MMA could have worked. It could have been, none of that could have happened. It could have been, 8 years more advanced than we are right now, but there was a leadership position that was taken.
The upside is that we now get to go and face our leadership without the fear of the law anymore.
Right. Well,
and we get to face the leadership, look them in the eye, and say, "Look, the laws against cannabis are socially offensive and socially corrosive, and it's time for you to stop and tell the police to back down. Stop enforcing this bad policy and be done with it."
Mandate. It's a mandate to fix it and change it and use the resources they've been using to damage to really fix. I think, all these things are consistent with this is, that's the only way to look at it going in there. And if it's for 2 years or 4 years.
Well, the law is very clear in our favor.
Yes,
that's just my
absolutely.
opinion. That's what I'm thinking. Very, very much in our favor.
You're right. The moral high ground. That was well said.
Political high ground. That's a thing. Political high ground.
Political and moral.
The high ground. You all are clearly on the high ground.
The voters are on our side. That's all that matters.
Well, it is past the 10 o'clock hour, folks. Michael, what final thoughts?
Final. What do you mean?
Final thoughts.
I'm gonna let Paul make his final thoughts first, and then comment on what he says.
All right.
That's fine.
I'm going to kind of piggyback on something we talked about privately, Michael, is that what's the future of cannabis law? Is it all administrative? Is it all just civil lawsuits now? Because if you're not getting arrested for it, and really kind of the worst that you're going to get generally is going to be some kind of fine or ticket, what does the cannabis landscape look like for lawyers? What does the cannabis landscape look like for the next step? Is it go home and grow your own, go home and participate in the commercial industry, and that's pretty much about it? What's next? I mean, we've seen what the West Coast has to offer, and it just seems like it's a system that is now it's just as normal as anything else. So in terms of what happens with the cannabis community, have we lost the cause and now we just kind of go off into the sunset? Is there a next endeavor? Do we back problems like Meekoff proposes? Do we oppose things like that? Do we get into the smaller battles like we had with the MMA, where we're now fine-tuning it? There's a lot of those questions because, again, I've always said this, is I love working myself out of a job, and I think we just did it.
I'm saying my thinking is don't screw anything up. Okay,
Right.
If it's going all right, which it does seem to be, there's all evidence things are going our way. I haven't found a problem really, and so I say let it ride. And
which is
we're on the high
Which is a
ground
great thing because I don't think that we've ever been in that position before to be like, we're pretty good. We have
Yeah.
we have everything. We have all the presumption on our side. No more affirmative defense bullshit. None of that stuff.
Well, in the
It's a
favor of
presumption.
governor and attorney general, that's a
Correct,
friend of
right.
our community.
Correct. So now there's almost like we have this like Rick said. Now we have this cruise, and finally, because
Yeah.
I think we all earned it
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah.
We go from
Yeah.
stigma to absolute legitimacy.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Just to answer the first question, I'm starting this "let's make alcohol illegal again" thing. So just that I'll be working on that a little bit.
Mayo?
I'm kidding. I'm joking. Come on, that's my joke the whole night. I joke. I'm just trying to.
Do it. No, do
All
it.
right. Absolutely, this is true, and I'm okay with it. I remember I introduced Dana up in Bay City, and her opening joke was like, "And if I have it my way, I'm going to put Camorra Law out of business."
Yeah.
And I was like totally okay with it. I was okay. Listen, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in the industry right now. We've got a lot of. It's not like the phone's not ringing. We're being drawn into things that are very cannabis related and areas of the law that are fascinating. And there's going to be a lot of litigation, I think, in the business world. There's a lot. And it's exciting. Some of the being able to facilitate the licenses, and we've had some criminal battles arising out of that. There's going to be a lot of activity, I think, in cannabis, and I'm excited to be part of it. It's going to be. And I should say, I'm very bullish on hemp. No one's really talking about hemp. It's a whole other thing.
I'm going to talk about hemp when you get
Well, hold
Hemp
on.
seed should be as common in salad bars as the
But that's
croutons and the sunflower seeds.
Right, and we know that's and we are we all know that this is very exciting times in Michigan, and everyone's got a view of how Michigan become a better place. So I'm not
Hemp seeds in every salad bar in Michigan.
Every single one.
I think that this attorney general and governor thing is a big deal. This is a big deal. People I'm sure some of you understand the pain that Bill Schuette and people
Fuck
like
Bill
that,
Schuette.
put the community through. Okay, that was some would say it was abusive. Okay, and hey. Well, we won. We won.
Yes,
so I'm
pretty-
saying we're got a good situation going here. We don't have a hostile attorney general. We don't have a hostile governor. This is going to really smooth things out in a nice way.
It could be argued that we generated the percentage that Dana won by.
mandate.
It could be said that. Yes,
no doubt.
Yes.
No
it
doubt.
was-
There's no question that they are in the leaders were placed there because of this issue. I mean, let's not.
From the most evil dark night to the brightest day that we could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. In
Right.
one-
In one,
Yep.
we won everything. It was so crazy.
But now this sick lame duck is trying to limit all these things, even limit our attorney general.
All right.
Yeah.
It's got to fail. That's the main.
They did it in
thing.
Wisconsin. They did the same thing in Wisconsin.
Yes, they did.
And it started in North Carolina. Yeah.
It is to enforce unconstitutional laws. Do you know that? It is because there are CPS contracts with fundamentally religious health organizations that had laws passed that say we can discriminate based upon our extreme religious beliefs in determining where to place children and whether to remove them. That's the law in Michigan. Dana said, "I'm not going to do
it's
that.
pretty good.
I'm not going to enforce unconstitutional laws. You may pass unconstitutional laws. That's what there should be. This is what I want to start a this is great First Amendment task force. Crimes associated with the First Amendment, like violations, making laws that violate church and state. That's what they're doing, right? That's exactly. It's never going to happen.
The legislature.
It's a project, but Jeff was laughing at me. I'm sorry, but that's what they're doing, and they did it in Wisconsin, and so they're trying to pass a law that can force her to enforce the unconstitutional laws and take that position in lawsuits. That's where we're at right now, Chuck. It's good.
Well, they want
We gotta wrap
This
it
is the
up.
legislature making a law trying to impose itself on
Jamie,
the
you are-
executive
The
branch.
sponsors
Hey,
care.
we need to remember to tell people and for people to realize
Point
that
about
this
religion,
law
right?
passed for everybody.